Hi guys, so I'm going to go through the mini quiz from the 2nd of April. So first thing we are going to do is look at my rough sketch of what the graph was that I gave you guys. So we have the graph from -7 to 5, and we also were given g of 0 equals 5. That is my initial value. Therefore, anytime it asks anything about g, I'm going to have to start with this initial value. All right, so for number 1, find g of 3 and g of -2. So for g of 3, we're going to have to start with my initial value of 5 plus, and then we are going to take the antiderivative, the integral. I have to start the integral at my given 0 to, I'm trying to find it at g of 3, so 3 of g prime of x dx. All right, so it's going to equal, and then that is the area under the curve from 0 to 3. Okay, so we've got my initial value of 5 plus, and then 1/4 of a circle, so 1/4 pi r is 2 squared, plus then my triangle, so 1/2 base is 1 times height is 3. Now, if this were the AP exam, I could literally just box this in and say that's my answer because I don't have to do any further calculation. All right, so, but if you did further calculation, you got 5 plus pi plus 3 over 2. So you get 13 over 2 plus pi. That's what g of 3 is equal to. All right, so then likewise, we're going to do g of -2. So I want to start out with my initial value of 5 plus the integral. I have to start at 0 to whatever value we're finding. So this one is -2 of g prime of x dx. All right, so that's going to equal 5 plus. Now we do the area under the curve from 0 to -2. So we're going to be shading from 0 to -2. So that is shading backwards. So I'm going to have to make that area, although it's above the curve, we switch that sign because we're shading backwards, negative. And then that was 1/4 pi r squared. So it's going to be 5 minus pi. All right, so on to the next one. Find the x-coordinate of the points of inflection of g. So points of inflection, that's where g double prime changes sign. That is the key thing with points of inflection. That's where g double prime changes sign. So this is a graph of g prime. So g double prime is the derivative of this graph, aka the slope of this graph. So the slope from 7 to -2 is positive. From -2 to 0 is positive. From 0 to 2 is negative. So it switches from being a positive slope to a negative slope at x equals 0. And then we go negative slope from 0 to 2, and then from 2 to 3, it goes to a positive slope. So x equals 2 is another point of inflection. And then it changes from a positive slope to a negative slope at 3, so x equals 3 is my third and final one. All right, I'll pause it there and tackle the next two.